All right, so for social studies, we are leading up to the Revolutionary War. Um, so what are kind of some of the things we've been exploring a little bit life in the colonies? That's what we've been focusing on. And last week we did a little bit with the Salem witch trials. And now we're going to kind of pivot and look at what led to the American Revolution, what were kind of the final breaking points for the colonies and Britain to finally kind of go head to head. They already were, but what happened to kind of intensify that? So the first thing we want to look at, there was a bunch of acts that happened that were passed by Britain in order that the colonists had to follow. So remember that the colonies were still under the rule of Britain, right? So they paid taxes to the British. They had to house British soldiers. There was a lot that was happening. And the Stamp Act was, you're going to watch this video. It's only about 2 minutes, but it's a really good overview of what the Stamp Act was. And basically, the British put a tax on all paper products. And you'll learn again more about that in this video. So we're also going not only with the Stamp Act, but we're also going to look at primary and secondary sources. Now, for many of you, this is not a new term, but I want you still to watch this video. It's also only 3 minutes long. This is an empower. So number 1 will be to watch this video that I'm recording now. Number 2, before you do the assignment, you need to watch primary and secondary sources. And then number 3 will be to complete this assignment. So for today, for day 1, you only need to complete slides 1 and 2. For day 2 tomorrow, you need to complete slides 3 and 4, okay? So I'm going to go over them quickly. Now remember, you always can just zoom in. So again, we're looking at primary and secondary sources of the Stamp Act, okay? So this was passed by British Parliament on March 22nd, 1765, and it went into effect on November 1st, 1765. So I want you to read this primary source, okay? And I want you to think about what makes this a primary source. Now, you'll learn about it, but primary source is something that occurred as a source from that time. So this is from 1765, and this is from the Stamp Act, okay? So I want you to look again. So it's saying, for every sheet or piece of paper on which shall be written or printed any pleading in any court, any copy of any will, any certificate of any degree taken in any university, academy, college, or seminary of learning, any license, appointment, or admission of any attorney to practice in any court, any deed, and for and upon every paper commonly called a pamphlet, and upon every newspaper, for every advertisement to be contained in any newspaper, for every calendar. So what makes this a primary source, right? So I want you to look here, and you're going to answer these questions. So what makes a document a primary source? And I want you to watch this video here, and put at least one example. What was the purpose of the Stamp Act? Now, you're going to get some of that information here in video number 1. And what are at least 4 things that were taxed under the Stamp Act? And you're going to find those here. I want complete sentences as you're answering this, okay? And then, again, we're focusing on primary and secondary sources for this, the beginning of this unit. So you have another one from the Pennsylvania Gazette. Again, it's asking you whose perspective. So think of the point of view. Who's writing this? What perspective is this from? What do the writers in this source promise to do? So again, you're using the text. Another one from the Pennsylvania Gazette. It's going to ask you again to look at the perspective. If you don't know the word resistance, look it up. How does this passage show resistance to the Stamp Act? And how does this passage show the colonists' support of the printers? So again, you need to use all your tools to answer this. And then you have one more, the Stamp Act of Congress, and you're going to continue. You have just 2 responses that you are going to focus on. So for today, you need to do day 1. You're watching this video, completing slides 1 through 2. Day 2, you're doing slides 3 and 4. And that's it.